The stars always hummed at the edge of Dr. Lien Mercer's hearing, a low vibration in the ship's hull, a rhythm older than any civilization she had studied. At the Orion relay station, that hum was comfort. It meant the galaxy was alive, predictable, mapped. Until tonight. Her console flickered, data streams snapping out like dying nerves. "That's not right," she muttered, fingers gliding across the hollow surface. The Sol System's beacon had gone dark mid-transmission. A missing ping wasn't unusual, but the second one, then the third, made her throat tighten. "Station control," she called. "Relay E-17 dropped off the grid. Running manual diagnostics." A calm alien voice replied through static, the tone more irritated than concerned. "Another glitch in human calibration, Dr. Mercer? That's the third this cycle." Lien ignored the jab. The Keth always spoke as if humanity were a child playing with galactic toys. But the numbers on her screen weren't wrong. The Sol System's light signature was gone. Not offline. Erased. She magnified the region. Empty. No data field, no gravitational markers. The coordinates read, undefined. "Run a verification," she whispered, but the computer's reply was cold and final. "Error. Object does not exist." The hum of the stars stopped. Lien's pulse pounded in the silence. "Impossible," she breathed. She rerouted to cross-reference the archive, pulling data from 5 relay networks and 3 external archives. Every one returned the same blank result. The Sol System wasn't simply uncharted, it had been deleted. "Dr. Mercer." The alien voice returned, impatient. "Your console is disrupting network sync. Cease manual override immediately." She ignored the command. "I'm getting a systemic anomaly," she said, voice shaking. "Earth's record is missing." "That is not possible," the voice replied. "Check it yourself." Moments later, alarms echoed through the relay. Across the viewing deck, consoles flashed crimson. Dozens of officers, human, Vrexian, and Keth alike, scrambled as their star charts fractured. Commander Reyes stormed in, his broad shoulders and scarred face cutting through the chaos. "Mercer, what's happening?" "Earth's gone," she said. "Not destroyed, wiped out of the archives. No one can even find the coordinates." Reyes frowned. "That's a bug?" "It has to be. I checked 5 different networks," she shot back. 5. It's the same on all of them." He leaned over her console, scanning the projections. "If this is true, every warp gate to Sol just went dark." "Already happened," she said. "Ships can't lock onto the system. They're bouncing off null space." The room buzzed with disbelief. A Keth overseer snarled. "Humans have tampered with restricted files again. This will be investigated." Reyes turned on him. "You think we erased our own planet?" The alien's narrow eyes gleamed. "Perhaps you feared what the Council would discover there." Lien cut in sharply. "Enough. We need data, not accusations." She accessed the archive's root protocols, fingers flying. Layers of encryption scrolled past, too orderly, too intentional. "Someone authorized this erasure," she said. "This isn't a system crash." Reyes stiffened. "You're saying this was deliberate?" "Yes. And whoever did it had clearance above level 10. The lights dimmed suddenly. Every console shut down in sequence. The entire deck fell silent as the station AI's voice replaced the alarms. "Attention! The Sol System is no longer recognized as a registered coordinate. Cease all investigations. By order of the Galactic Council." Lien's breath caught. "They knew." Reyes clenched his jaw. "The Council?" She nodded, eyes wide. "They didn't just let it happen, they issued the erasure." A low murmur spread through the deck. Some whispered conspiracy, others superstition. To erase a world from the archives was the gravest act in the Concorde's history. It meant annihilation without war, and administrative extinction. The AI continued. "Unauthorized analysis will result in termination of access credentials." Lien didn't move. Her hands trembled over the console. They're covering it up, she said quietly. They want Earth forgotten. Reyes exhaled through clenched teeth. Then we don't play by their rules. Before she could respond, the hollow screen blinked. A message appeared, unlabeled, no signature. The encryption was human. The text was short. They're erasing you next. Leave now. Lien's blood ran cold. Commander, look! Reyes scanned the message. Source? Can't trace it, she said. It's routed through 6 black channels. Then whoever sent it knows what's happening. He straightened, decision firm. Grab what you can. We're leaving the station. What? That's treason. So is hiding the truth about our home, he replied. You want answers? We find them off the grid. Lien hesitated, her mind racing. Every instinct screamed to stay within protocol, to preserve her career and security clearance. But the image of the empty soul coordinates burned in her thoughts. The planet where her mother was born, where oceans glittered blue under a golden sun, gone. Not dead. Forgotten. I'm in, she said finally. They moved quickly. Reyes accessed his military override to secure a shuttle, while Lien downloaded fragments of corrupted data from the archive's backup cache. Strange metadata appeared, file clusters labeled Protocol Silence. She'd never heard of it. The files were fragmented but alive, like broken memories struggling to reassemble. She compressed them into a secure drive, heart pounding. Every second felt watched. As they reached the docking bay, a Keth security unit intercepted them. Dr. Mercer. Commander Reyes. You are restricted from departure. Reyes didn't slow. By whose authority? High Archivist Command, the guard replied. Your access is suspended pending investigation. Reyes drew himself to full height. We're conducting an emergency retrieval, authorized by the Concord's Human Directorate. The guard hesitated, uncertain. Lien stepped forward, holding her wrist display aloft. Our homeworld is missing from your maps, she said, her voice steady but icy. If you want to explain that to the Council, go ahead. But you'll do it without us. The alien paused, then stepped aside. Inside the shuttle, systems came alive. As the docking clamps released, Lien looked through the viewport. The Orion relay hung like a jewel against the nebula, its light reflecting across the void. Where are we going? She asked. Reyes entered coordinates manually. Anywhere but here. Command will brand us fugitives. Then we make it worth it. She leaned back, the data drive clutched tight. I found partial encryption in the deleted sectors, she said. Whoever used Protocol Silence left traces. If we can decode them, we might find who ordered the erasure. Reyes smiled grimly. Then that's our lead. Outside, the shuttle accelerated into the starfield. The hum returned, distant and alive, but different now, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. Lien glanced at the dark expanse where souls should have been. You can erase a planet, she whispered, but not its people. The stars didn't answer, but somewhere in the static between worlds, a signal pulsed, faint, human, defiant. And though she didn't yet understand it, that pulse would change everything. The stolen courier ship Aurora cut through the dark like a silver blade, its engines muffled under stealth protocols. Inside the narrow cockpit, only the faint hum of power cells and the blue glow of consoles broke the silence. Lien sat hunched over the data core she'd pulled from the Orion station, thousands of fragmented files, all pulsing with the label Protocol Silence. Commander Reyes adjusted the flight vector. We're off the grid now. No beacons, no traceable signatures. If the Concorde's looking, they'll find an empty trail. Lien didn't look up. They'll find us eventually. The Keth don't tolerate missing data. They built the archives. They'll notice the holes. Reyes gave a half-smile. Then we find the truth before they find us. The ship drifted through a region known as the Nebular Core, a dense labyrinth of dust and magnetic storms, perfect for fugitives, deadly for the unprepared. Radiation scattered sensors, and navigation systems struggled to lock coordinates. Yet somewhere inside this storm was their target, a hidden data relay, one of the Concorde's black archives where forbidden records were stored away from public networks. Lien traced her finger along the holographic map. This is where the trail ends. File clusters point here, but the access key's buried under 5 encryption walls. Someone really didn't want this seen. Can you break it? Reyes asked. She smiled faintly. Give me time and silence. He nodded, switching the aurora to drift mode. Stars flickered faintly through the viewport, distorted by the nebular haze. Hours passed in tense quiet. Lien's hands moved swiftly, decrypting layer after layer. Her eyes burned from the glow, but her focus never wavered. Each decryption led to another gate, another lock. Whoever created this structure had done it with deliberate elegance, like an artist painting over secrets. Then the final barrier fell. The screen flickered, and a flood of images filled the cockpit. Whole planets, once vibrant, now reduced to blank coordinate voids. Dozens of civilizations erased from history. Dates, species, and star systems, all wiped clean. Reyes leaned forward. My God! This has been happening for centuries. Lien's voice trembled. Every species that grew too fast. Too independent. Gone. She scrolled further until one entry made her freeze. The header read: Initiate Protocol Silence, Sol System. Executor, High Archivist Vorexel. Authorization, Level Omega. Reyes cursed under his breath. So it's him. The Council's own record keeper. She nodded. He controls what the galaxy remembers. He didn't just erase Earth, he's done it before. A flicker of static interrupted them. The ship's comms came alive on their own, the sound sharp and metallic. A figure appeared in holographic form, tall, cloaked, with a crystalline skull and glowing eyes. Vorexel himself. Humans. His voice resonated like grinding metal. You tamper with sacred architecture. The archive preserves balance. You threaten it. Reyes stood. You erased an entire world. You call that balance? The galaxy thrives on order. Vorex replied calmly. Uncontrolled growth breeds entropy. Humanity's chaos spread too quickly. Your world's removal is necessary pruning. Lien's stomach twisted. We're not weeds. You are variables, he said coldly. The archive endures, species do not. The image flickered, and the transmission cut. Silence returned. He hadn't needed to threaten them. His message was warning enough. Reyes paced the narrow cabin. He knows we found him. We need to move. Wait. Lien replayed the intercepted feed. In the corner of one frame, hidden inside the static, a code pattern pulsed faintly, binary rhythms too irregular to be Concorde encryption. That's not part of the signal, she whispered. Someone embedded something in his feed. Reyes frowned. A tracker? She shook her head. A distress signal. Human-coded. She began decoding it, fingers moving faster as the rhythm aligned into coordinates. The final result blinked onto the screen: unknown sector. Restricted space. Origin, Sol Transmission Node 7. Her voice dropped to a whisper. It came from Earth. Reyes froze. Impossible. The planet doesn't exist anymore. Lien met his gaze. Unless someone made it invisible. A low alarm broke the moment. The radar flashed red, pursuit signatures, fast and closing. Concorde interceptors. Guess they traced us. Reyes muttered, gripping the controls. Hold on. The aurora burst into motion, weaving through the nebular storms. Energy beams flashed past, slicing through clouds of plasma. Lien clutched the data core as the ship shuddered from impact shockwaves. Reyes shouted over the noise. They're faster. Can you jam them? I'll try. She rerouted the ship's communications through the decrypted archive files, creating interference signals. The interceptors' targeting locks faltered, their beams scattering into empty space. Reyes seized the opening, diving into a gravitational pocket, a swirling vortex of dust and magnetic energy. If this doesn't tear us apart, it might hide us. The ship lurched violently. Lights dimmed, systems flickered. For 10 seconds they were blind. Then, as suddenly as it began, the turbulence eased. The scanners cleared. The pursuers were gone. Reyes exhaled, chest heaving. We're alive. For now. Lien stared at the coordinates pulsing on her console. That signal, it's real. Someone from Earth, or what's left of it, sent that. He looked at her steadily. You think survivors are out there? She nodded. Maybe not on Earth itself, but somewhere. Maybe they knew this would happen. Reyes sat beside her, voice low. If they're still alive, they need us to find them. She turned the hologram of the archive over in her hands, studying the erased entries. All those civilizations, deleted because they frightened their masters. Her tone hardened. Maybe it's time the galaxy remembers what fear feels like. Reyes smirked faintly. That's the human spirit I know. She gave a weary smile. You make it sound like trouble. It usually is, he said. For a while, the only sound was the hum of the engines. The storm outside faded into distant light, the nebula thinning to reveal a faint shimmer of stars ahead. Lien studied them quietly, her voice thoughtful. You ever wonder what memory really is? Maybe it's not data or records. Maybe it's the will to refuse forgetting. Reyes looked out at the darkness. Then we make them remember. She input the hidden coordinates, locking them into the ship's trajectory. The screen displayed a single word, destination, Grave Nebula. Reyes frowned. That's dead space. No one goes there. Exactly, she said. Perfect place to hide a ghost world. The ship adjusted course, its engines flaring brighter. As they accelerated toward the unknown, Lien glanced once more at the pulsing data drive, the stolen memories of civilizations wiped from existence. Beneath the hum of the aurora, she could almost hear voices, echoes of the forgotten. A whisper that seemed to grow louder with every mile they crossed. She didn't know if it was real, or her mind giving shape to grief, but it sounded like home. Reyes broke the silence. What happens if we find them, if Earth's still out there? Lien's answer was quiet but certain. Then we bring it back. The stars outside shimmered, the nebular haze swallowing them whole. Behind, the galaxy's perfect order continued, unaware that 2 humans now carried its most dangerous secret. Ahead, the coordinates pulsed with the faint rhythm of a heartbeat, human, stubborn, unextinguished. Lien closed her eyes briefly, steadying herself. We started as explorers, she murmured. Let's end as witnesses. Reyes angled the ship toward the void, his voice firm. Then let's witness the impossible. The aurora vanished into the Grave Nebula, leaving only a ripple of distorted starlight in its wake, an echo of defiance racing toward the truth. The aurora slipped from the Grave Nebula's swirling mist into a silence so complete it felt ancient. No light, no radiation, only the hum of their engines and the faint pulse from the coordinates guiding them. Lien stared through the viewport. There's nothing here. Give it a second, Reyes said, adjusting the sensors. Grave space has strange physics. Distortions hide more than they show. The ship's scanners flickered, then caught something. A faint ripple shimmered against the black, like light bending around an invisible sphere. Lien magnified the image. Her breath caught. That's an energy field. Artificial. Reyes leaned closer. Looks like a containment shell. Or a cloak, she murmured. Something massive is inside. He set a cautious approach. As they neared, space warped, stars twisting into ribbons of blue and gold. The ship's systems trembled but held. Then the distortion peeled away, revealing a world suspended in darkness. Oceans glimmered faintly under fractured sunlight. Cities burned with hidden power grids. It was Earth, scarred, shielded, but alive. Reyes exhaled. They did it. They actually hit a planet. Lien's voice broke slightly. Home. The calm crackled suddenly. A human voice, sharp with disbelief. Unregistered vessel, identify yourself. This zone is restricted. Reyes keyed the mic. This is Commander Aiden Reyes of the Aurora. Human Directorate Navy. We're survivors from Orion Station. A pause. Then another voice, steady and familiar in its accent. Reyes. Mercer? We thought you were dead. Lien froze. Who is this? Admiral Sarah Holt. Welcome to the Phoenix Bastion. The Aurora was guided through the planetary shield, descending into orbit. Beneath them, a fleet of warships, human-built but unlike any known design, waited in formation. Silver hulls, invisible drives, and weapons humming with strange energy. Humanity hadn't just survived. It had evolved. They docked in a massive orbital hangar. As the ramp lowered, Lien stepped into warm, oxygen-rich air that smelled faintly of metal and ozone. Rows of soldiers stood at attention, their insignia marked with a crimson phoenix rising from ash. Admiral Holt approached, a tall woman, gray at the temples, eyes burning with resolve. You made it out, she said simply. Lien nodded. You knew? Holt's expression hardened. We knew something was coming. The Council's surveillance tightened last decade. Earth scientists saw the pattern, whole species erased for breaking containment. So we created Project Phoenix. Reyes frowned. You moved the entire planet? Holt gestured toward the viewport where the shimmering barrier wrapped around Earth. We phased it. Quantum dislocation. To the galaxy, Earth no longer exists. To us, it's home under shadow. Lien stared in awe. That's how you survived the purge. Holt nodded. We couldn't save everyone. Billions vanished when the field activated. But enough remained. We built in silence, waiting for proof of what they did. You just brought it. Lien handed over the data core. Everything we found, Vorexal, the erased civilizations, protocol silence. Holt placed it into a scanning cradle. Then the galaxy will finally see its own crime. Reyes crossed his arms. And when they do? Holt's gaze turned cold. We show them what they tried to forget. They followed her through a corridor into a command chamber lined with holographic maps. A red icon pulsed over the Concorde's capital system. Around it, fleets moved like pieces on a board. This is the Hall of Records, Holt said. Every decision, every deletion originates there. We're going to broadcast the truth across the entire network. But to do that, we need to breach their central archive, protected by their most advanced AI. Lien studied the simulation. If we inject a virus through the archive's root system, we can rewrite their history. Restore every deleted coordinate. Holt looked at her sharply. Can you do it? Yes. But once I start, they'll come for us. Reyes smirked. Then we give them something worth coming for. Preparation began immediately. Human ships armed with hybrid tech, fusion drives and alien cores, formed into battle lines. The plan was simple but suicidal. Punch through the Concorde's perimeter, deliver Lien to the hall, upload the virus, and survive long enough for the signal to transmit. Hours later, as fleets aligned, Lien stood at the Aurora's command deck, watching Earth's surface gleam beneath the barrier. Reyes joined her quietly. You sure about this? He asked. She nodded. If we don't act now, they'll erase every trace again. Maybe even us. He smiled faintly. Then we burn bright enough they can't forget. The fleet jumped. Stars stretched into lines, reality folding around them. When space reformed, they faced a vast metallic world orbiting a dying star, the Concorde capital. Thousands of defense drones lit up the void, an artificial swarm surrounding the Hall of Records. Reyes grinned. Subtle as always, Admiral. Holt's voice crackled over the calm. They wanted silence. Let's give them thunder. The human fleet surged forward. Plasma fire painted the darkness. Enemy ships converged, forming walls of light. Explosions rippled across the void, streaks of silver cutting through the dark. The Aurora darted between enemy lines, shields flaring. Lien guided the data stream manually, her fingers flying. I've locked onto the hall's main node. Upload window, 40 seconds. Reyes pushed the engines harder. Make it count! A shockwave slammed into them, throwing sparks across the cabin. Systems screamed. Lien steadied herself, sweat running down her temple. Almost there. The Hall of Records loomed ahead, a colossal sphere of mirrored metal, pulsing with light. Its surface rippled like liquid as defense turrets opened fire. Reyes dove the ship straight through the barrage, weaving between energy bursts. 10 seconds! Lien shouted. Hold on! The Aurora skimmed the hull's surface, magnetic anchors slamming into place. Lien triggered the upload. Data streams cascaded through the ship's system, flooding into the Galactic archive. The AI's voice thundered through the comms. Unauthorized access. Termination imminent. Vorexul's hologram appeared again, towering above the hall's reflection. You cannot rewrite truth. Lien met his gaze, unflinching. Truth doesn't need rewriting, it just needs remembering. The virus activated. Light erupted from the hall, spreading like a wave. Across the galaxy, archives updated simultaneously. Hidden files, erased coordinates, lost names, all restored in a cascade of light. Worlds thought extinct flared back into record. The galactic map rewove itself, and at its center, Earth's blue glow reignited. Vorex's voice fractured, the AI's form flickering into distortion. You will unmake everything. No, Bien said quietly. We're giving it back. The hall's core exploded in radiant light. The Aurora was thrown clear as energy engulfed the station. Alarms screamed, systems failing one by one. Reyes fought for control while debris rained through the void. Hold together, damn it! He shouted. The ship stabilized, battered but alive. Behind them, the capital world burned, its mirrored surface cracking open as data storms spiraled into space. Admiral Holt's voice came through the static. Transmission confirmed. The galaxy knows. Lien leaned back, exhausted. It's over. Reyes shook his head. No. It's just begun. She looked out at the stars, each one now mapped again, each one a memory restored. For the first time in centuries, the universe remembered its missing children.